Hello everyone and welcome to the next tutorial. Today we'll learn how to easily connect MongoDB using Mongoose to our Node.js application, and I will show you by creating some easy routes in Express.js. First of all, what you need to have is installed that you have to create account on MongoDB, or if you have, that's very good. If not, just try for free and sign up for the account. If you don't have, you should do that. It will just make us simpler for everything. And when you create that account, please log in to your account and you will see something like that. When Of course, you have to create first of all the new cluster because I've got a cluster created, and you should go for a free tier cluster, which should be over here. You should have the free cluster available when you don't create the first one that I've done before. So I mean, I've done and I've got cluster created. That's why I cannot have the second one for free. Okay, so when you just create the cluster, you've got an account. The next thing that you will need to have, because creating cluster will take some minutes, you should go and install the Postman. Postman, if you don't have, of course, will help us to check our routes, to send something to our routes, so we don't have to create the whole front-end page. We will focus only at our Node.js application, so our Node backend. So going back to our Atlas, I mean MongoDB, we should go to security and database access. Over here, you can create a new user, and with that user, you are able to log in, and I will show you how, to our MongoDB database. So first of all, I'll create a new user. I will use password as an authentication method. I'll create very easy user because I don't need to create such a sophisticated user because I will delete it after all. And the next important role, when you're just trying to do, there are two ways. In that way, we'll just create the built-in role as Atlas admin to help us. But also, if you're creating more than one, you can create read and write to any database. So creating the Atlas admin, remember the password, the username, and the password. And with that in mind, add user. Our user is created right now, and we should go back to our database. And right there, you've got something like connect. And when you just go to the connect, you should have the MongoDB for VS Code. And we'll go there, and we've got some kind of very good looking, of course it's just a joke, but very good looking URL that we should use to create our MongoDB. We'll need our password and username to match it over here. So we copy it, and for right now, we move to our code editor. In my case, it's of course Visual Studio Code. Okay, I'll clear the terminal, and first of all, what we need to npm init, we'll need to initialize our Node application. When we initialize our Node application, we'll need two things to go through and to help ourselves to create and connect this very simple database with routes in Express. So npm install, we need Express because we'll make some routes from that, and also Mongoose to connect easily to our database. When everything's going to be installed, we just need to create our index.js where we'll start and we'll work. First of all, we need to get our Express. The next thing, we'll just go to our Mongoose. It's our imports that we'll need to use later on. And with that, we should start having fun with our Express application. Because we will be using the posts and another routes from Express, I mean the Node application. So when you're routing something, you just get post and something like that. We'll need to get that data and it will be the JSON. So to do that, we need to use express.json and we are almost ready to go with that. Okay, so we right now got our Express started, but also it's not the episode about Express, but it's about Mongoose. So MongoDB, how to connect our node to the database. So mongoose that connect, and with that, the only thing that we have to do, it's very easy to connect them, is to paste our link inside our username, write down our username, inside our password, write down our password, and we need only two more things to be ready to go. We'll just make some kind of settings. So we'll use new URL parser, and also we will use unified topology, and with that we almost create our connection to database. So const db equals mongoose.connection, and we only need to check if everything is okay. If not, we should go on error console.log connection error. Okay, and we got our Mongoose connected. When we are using Mongo and we are using Mongoose, we've got something like schema. The schemas and also that connection to database should be on another file, but to be more clear for you, I will create everything in one file because it will not be a very long code. So schemas allow us to set what we have to provide for our database. So we'll stick together and we'll check and take care if everything is correctly and each user has the same data. It will be some kind of our guard and it will allow us to check if everything's okay. Of course, we'll just create very easy schema without any required options, but you'll know how to use that. So to create schema, we, for example, call it user schema, and we just call new mongoose.schema. Schema. And parentheses, and inside brackets, we should go and write some kind of application. Because we will be using some kind of user, we need, for example, a string. We also need email as a string, and the last one, for example, we will need age. Okay, we've created the very briefly and very easy schema, and we should make it to assign to the model, to our database model that we'll be using later on. So mongoose.model user and user schema as the second parameter. And also the last thing, to create our application to work everything, we need to create a port where our application will listen to, and we'll check if server is running. And right now we've got our schema, we've connected to database, and also we launch our Node.js server. Okay, to be more precise, Express. server, of course. So we need to create CRUD operation. So create, read, update, delete. So we'll just create. So to create something, we need to app that post, because we'll just post something to the application. We'll create the users. We need to make it a synchronous function, because all the methods used by Mongoose need to be called asynchronously. So we'll use await keyword to make that happen. So request response, and right there, const new user, request.body, and also const result. We will get why we are using like that, because right now we are just creating the new user is our schema mongoose model, and we're just getting the body that will pass over here. I will show you how we'll pass it in Postman application. And with that in mind, to the result, we assign await, and our new user that we just created over here will save it to our application. Of course, we can just respond to the JSON, for example, the result. If everything's okay, we'll just check later on. The next thing is read. So we'll just get from our users. We can stick together to the same naming convention, because we are using another routing possibilities. And of course, we need asynchronously make it happen, because we'll be using Mongoose as well. So const users, and right now, to find out our users, we need to await and user that find. And with that, we will find out all of the users. So we have to only send a response as our users. And we've got our users that we just find all users that we'll just created at the first one. So right there, we create and we save our user to our database. We get that the users that we'll have in our database. So the next thing we'll need to update. And to update, I will use post, because I prefer to do that. And users, and we'll pass the ID as our params that we'll later on get from our route. Request, response, and of course the last thing that we'll need to get what we updated user, and we'll get it from request.body that will send as we've got before. And to do that, it's very simple. Const result equals await user, because we are inside our Mongoose model, in our database model, and we'll just update one. And first of all, we need to find out the user by using par ID. To do that, we use request params.id that is built in Express.js, and as another parameter, we need to pass the updated user, the new user that will be updated. And to make it happen, we create and we send the very simple result. And the last one, of course, is delete. So we've got create, read, update, and delete. And to make it happen, we will use delete. Of course, we'll need the users, and also we'll want to know which user we would like to delete. And in that in mind, we'll just create the asynchronously function, and we need only two things over here. To be honest, we'll need only one, but we want to have the result also. So const result equals await user, so we get to our database model, and right there we only delete one. And of course, we get our ID from request.params.id that we are passing over here. And the last thing is the JSON result, and we save it. Okay, we will go to our database, to our MongoDB site. We'll go to browsing collection, wait a few seconds, look if we have something. I've got empty database, but I will also delete it. Wait a few seconds when the operation will be done. And right now, the only thing that we have to do is node index.js, but we'll add the wrong file, MongoDB connect, and write down node index.js. We'll need to make it happen if something is that work. Cannot find module express. Okay. Because I do not create the file over here, so npm init y, and also I will create npm install express mongoose. Wait just a few seconds because I was in the wrong file, and when everything will be installed, it will take only like 2-3 seconds. We will just go to node index.js, wait a few seconds, look what's happening over here. Okay, we are over here, so it should be a function. And we should be ready to go. Okay, we'll pass, for example, we'll bind it. It will be easier for us. We can also overgo it, so error.bind, and for example console, and we'll just create it over here, and it should be ready to go. Okay, what happened also in here? Will you help me use unified topology? Okay, use unified topology. Okay, and our server is running right now. Remember to double check if everything is right correctly, because as always you can misspell something and got some kind of errors. But I guess if we will not overgo it, we should go and be ready to check if we can create it over here. No, we cannot overgo in that easy way. We should bind the console.error to make it happen. So we'll just pass console as the first argument, and with that in mind, our server is running correctly. Okay, so going to our Postman, what you have to do is to create a new request by clicking over here, and when you just click over here, you can create post, get, or delete, or whatever you would like to have. You've got a lot of options. Remember to get to HTTP //localhost and the port that you are running your application as users, and then go to our body. Inside our body, create a row, JSON, and create some kind of file, and then send the JSON to our application. Going back to our database, we just refresh it over here, wait a few seconds, what will happen, and we've got our user created. To be sure that our user is created, the next you should get the get, and from our users we'll send, and as you can see, we've got our users ID, our name, email, age, and so on. And with that, we will just get our ID from here, and inside our update, we'll paste our update over here, and we'll change our name. So your name will change to change name. We'll send it. Everything's okay. Going back to get users, send again. And as you can see, we've got change name over here. If you do not believe, we can refresh our database, wait a few seconds, and our change name is working over here. And the last thing is to delete the user. Of course, we need to have the ID of our user, and unfortunately, we will delete it. And right now, when you just go to the users, as you can see, we don't have any of them because we've got deleted count as 1. We deleted our user, and when we refresh, our database should be empty. And it will be all for today's episode. And I hope you like it, enjoy. If you got any questions, please below in the comment section write it down. And see you at the next episodes. Bye.